Our next guest is the co-founder, publisher and editor-in-chief of the Chicago Thinker, a conservative and libertarian student newspaper at the University of Chicago, which is dedicated to combating cancel culture and promoting conservative and libertarian principles. Audrey Unverferth joins us now. Audrey, great to see you. How are you?
Good. It's great to see you. Thank you for having me.
So, Audrey, the reason you're on here is we mentioned last week on the show Dorian Abbot, who is a lecturer. He's not political in any way, but the cancel culture mob came after him. It's a fascinating story. What then happened? So they tried to cancel him for something or other. He said, you can explain that to us. But also what then happened, the reaction to that. Audrey, you're one of Dorian's students. He put us on to you. Great to have you on the show. Tell us firstly, what led to Dorian being cancelled? Tell us about his classes, and then what happened after that.
Definitely. Well, I have so much respect for Professor Abbot. As you've already stated, he's a professor at the University of Chicago. He's an esteemed geophysicist. He's renowned in his field. I've actually never had the opportunity to take a class with him, but many of my friends have, and they've really enjoyed his classes. And he has such integrity. He spoke out about a year ago against the University of Chicago recruiting new individuals based upon race and gender. He made the very reasonable argument that when we recruit individuals to the University of Chicago, we should recruit them based upon their merit. And for that very reasonable argument, Professor Abbott has been the target of the cancel mob for quite some time now. So I got to know him last year when I launched the Chicago Thinker to challenge the mob's crusade against free speech. We're a student-run publication on campus, and I'm so grateful to Professor Abbott because he's one of the few faculty members who is brave enough to put himself out there to really defend free discourse. And as you've already said, he's never thought of himself as a particularly political person. He just wants to do his science in peace. But when the mob refused to let him, he fought back. And so his lecture at MIT was canceled recently due to the mob's complaints, but luckily Princeton University stepped up to host his lecture instead, and I and thousands of others will be at that lecture next week to cheer Professor Abbott on.
Fantastic. Rita?
Well, that's great, and it gives everybody hope, but those stories are few and far in between. Too often we hear about people being cancelled, being censored, students self-censoring themselves. Just tell us about the climate of groupthink in universities and how difficult it is if you do lean on the conservative side of things to get through those 4 years.
Right. Well, it's sadly so difficult because there's such groupthink on colleges all across America, and I fear across the world. There's such groupthink in academia right now. And I arrived at UChicago as this naive little freshman. I told people I was conservative and just moved on with my day, and I didn't think it would be an issue. And I was stunned by the hatred and animosity that I received. But some of my friends and I decided to push back, and that's something I really want to emphasize, is that when you decide not to live by lies and you choose to speak out and to say what you actually think, you will be canceled by some, especially on college campuses right now. But you'll also immediately be surrounded by such strong free thinkers. And so it's ultimately so worth it, I think, to speak out. It's been a difficult few years for me, but I have such great friends now who have joined me in speaking out. And I know there are a lot of Americans and others around the world who want to change things. So you're never alone, but it's absolutely difficult on these campuses right now.
James?
Audrey, I want to ask you, this was a case of a professor in the hard sciences. Now, most of us here think, this is the sort of thing that generally happens in the humanities, in an English department, someplace that's, shot through with leftism. But This is a hard sciences. Can you tell us how deep has the rot set in across, your engineering and your physics and your chemistry faculties? Are they now all completely slaves to this equity, diversity, inclusion mindset that now infects everything else in the rest of the university?
I fear so. I fear that, yes, wokeism has infected every department, probably on my campus and beyond. I fear that's the case. And personally, I have friends who want to apply to med school right now. They want to become doctors, and they're really afraid that they'll be penalized if they're openly conservative when they apply to medical school, because I've heard rumors that that's a problem as well. So I personally am not in the sciences. I'm not pursuing any hard sciences, but I fear that it's a problem everywhere.
So, Audrey, before we go, make sure you wish Dorian Abbot all the best from us here on Outsiders. And that lecture, I'm sure thousands of people are planning to turn up to it, which will be terrific. But can I just ask you quickly, for young conservatives, we get many of them watching this show, fans of this show, in Australia, at university students, what would you advise them? Can they get in contact with you through your magazine? What would you advise them? Should they be setting up magazines or similar Facebook pages or whatever here in Australia? What would be your advice to young conservatives to fight against cancel culture and wokeism?
Definitely. Well, if you're watching this, you should absolutely reach out to the chicagothinker.com. We love hearing from people from all around the world, and we'll try to get back to you as fast as we can. And I would say just speak out, say what you think and stand by it. Refuse to live by lies, and know that you won't be alone. It's difficult to speak out, but it's worth it. And I've made such amazing friends since starting the Chicago Thinker, and my life is so much better because of it, because now I have people who I can actually speak honestly with, can look myself in the mirror knowing that I did everything that I could to speak out and to defend my principles. And so I would say just go for it. Reach out to us and just be strong, because you're not alone. And we need more publications. We need more strong individuals on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere.
Audrey Unverferth, thanks so much for coming on Outsiders. It's been great having you on, and I'm sure you'll be getting plenty of young Aussies reaching out to you, Outsiders, every one of them. Thanks so much, Audrey. See you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.